Alrighty then. I'm gonna do a few more stories about my brother Sam. Let's see. Um, uh, let's see. It's like I'm always feeling like I'm repeating myself on some of this stuff, but anyway, it's like one of the odd things about Sam was like I remember distinctly how he handled the steering wheel, especially when he was driving. Like his last car was a 19. It was the 1964 Dodge station wagon. It's like he got it from my parents because it was our parents' car, and we actually took our trip to Michigan, back to Michigan in that car. But he ended up with it. But I remember he had this odd way of handling the steering wheel, and he instead of like normal like this, he handled it like this. He put his hands inside. Now the steering wheels back then were bigger. He probably can't really get away with doing that now because they seem to be a little more compact. But it's like he would drive. It's like I can't even imitate it really. But imagine the steering wheel and him having his hands underneath instead of on top. That's like some one of the little odd things I remember about it. Let's see. Let's see. And then. Let's see, I think I talked about him being a really great public speaker. Um, let's see. We went on a vacation in Olympia, Washington, and the ice caves, and I keep thinking I've talked about this already, but maybe not. I've just been thinking about it a lot, I guess. Anyway, it's like one of our trips, vacation trips. I remember him, and I think a couple of his friends came too or something, and I managed to keep up with. They decided to go up to the ice caves, and I managed to keep up with them. I wanted to go too, so I kept up with them, and I went in there, and I remember them going actually into the ice. He made sure I got to go with them, him and his friends, and we went into the ice. We finally made it to the ice caves, and we went in the beginning. You couldn't go in too far unless you had really good lighting. It's like, which we didn't have. We didn't have a flashlight or anything, but we went into the first part of it and everything, and we started, and actually got to the point where it got really dark. It started getting dark, so it's like, I think it's the only time I actually held his hand, but he goes, hold my hand. It's like, if you go, if you're, because you're gonna go first, and it's like if something happens or something, I can, like I have your hand, and it's like grab it. Otherwise, because I can't do it the other way around because he was a big guy. So it's like, so anyway, we did that for a little while until it got kind of a little scary and stuff. So we backed off, and it's like, but it was that was a very memorable trip, and I just remember it really well, taking that big hike up there to the ice caves and stuff, and that was, very memorable. I wish we had pictures of it, but I don't think we do. There was like in his car, going back to his car, he had like we used to seemed to be, he was a bit of a slob, and in his car he usually had a bunch of junk and stuff like in his car, on the floor and stuff of his car. So I would get into his car, and elsewhere in his car too. It's like, but it's like we used to kind of make fun of it and stuff about not stepping on the car. He says, "Don't step on the junk." And when I would get into the car, when we'd go somewhere, it's like when we were like young adults, or it's like, or after he was driving and he would take me somewhere or something. It's like we make jokes about it, and I've happily have kept up the tradition of having too much junk in the car. Yeah, it's like he was. Yeah, it's like he had. I was gonna. Yeah, his car was a mess, and it's like he was kind of like a slobby. Like, he had clutter and stuff, and that included in any place he lived. He tended to have more clutter than most people. It wasn't really bad and stuff, but we would refer to it as being a slob. And let's see. Let's see. He his mobile home was filled with fish tanks. Well, his big hobby was fish and everything, and he was like obsessed with it. And the mobile home that he lived in, like the last probably a few years of his life, at least a few years of his life, he inherited my grandmother's trailer mobile home. So, and there was like one room. I think it was a 2-bedroom mobile home. It wasn't a huge mobile home, but one of the rooms was filled with fish tanks. So it's like he was obsessed with fish and everything fish. So I thought that was, and let's see. He also, it's like, because he was obsessed with fish and so on, he used to he would order pizza. We would go out sometimes and have pizza once in a while, like, and this is probably in the last year of his life. We'd go and get pizza and stuff, and he would get anchovies on his pizza. Now, I don't think he really liked anchovies, but it was fish. I didn't get anchovies on my pizza. It's like I don't like anchovies. Give them to the cats. So, but he would he would it's like I don't think he did it. Maybe he only did it the one time, but just because it was fish. But I just distinctly remember that. Let's see. What else? Another little short story here. He also learned to play the drums. I don't think he was ever really a great drum player, and that he didn't, but he had a friend that lived in the same moment. His name was Dave Wilson. He had a friend. He was, and he knew him. And Dave played the drums, so he started teaching Sam, and Sam he probably never really practiced that much. He was probably never great because he didn't get that much into it, but he actually at one point started teaching me how to play the drums, and I didn't keep up with it. I didn't have a drum set or anything to do. It's like if I had, maybe I would have kept up with it, but he did give me a few lessons on the drums. But he did learn to play from Dave Wilson, his buddy, and I actually ran into Dave Wilson some years ago at a memorial for somebody, one of the memorial services for somebody, and it was good seeing him. It's like it was seeing some of these people I hadn't seen in many years. So anyway, so that's it, and I think I'm going to wrap it up for that.